Hey Will, this is Scott Cherry. I was on the Zoom call with you today when you were expressing the problem that you have been having at your university by only getting one person to come to your meeting and by having, done many tables. And I'm with my friend Randy right here, and I'm going to let Randy introduce himself, and I think he has something to share with you, a fresh perspective. So I'm going to here he is, Randy.
Hello. Hi, Will, and anyone else who happens to be watching along. It is a pleasure to hear about you, and I was very excited to hear a little bit from Scott today about today's meeting. And so we obviously haven't met, but I wanted to just share a couple of thoughts off the cuff that may or may not be of value. So I think, the question was very interesting about how, what maybe some options are to do with a tabling only presence on a campus. We actually have multiple campuses going also here in the Detroit area. And so I certainly couldn't venture to speak to all the dynamics that might be at play in another city, in another state, on another campus with its own peculiar, distinctives. But I want to try to just give a couple of thoughts from what I've seen here on a number of campuses here locally, which I think then can also be translated really anywhere. So I'll just hit a couple of highlights, and then we thought maybe this would even translate into some follow-up videos or follow-up interaction that would be beneficial not only to us but also to others. So we actually, I'll give an example from one of our campuses that has an established presence of multiple campus ministries, but Ratio Christi, and I should introduce myself, I'm just a volunteer with Ratio Christi, and I've been volunteering with other campus ministries before I became involved with Ratio Christi, but we have a presence here on one of the specific college campuses, which is a unique campus itself. It has a college. It has both an associate's level program as a junior college originally. It now has 4-year students, and it also has an early college, a significant early college presence. So the student population of this campus is very diverse. We have a wide age range, but what we found is that we have now a presence with Ratio Christi in an unofficial capacity, which is tabling based, with no weekly meeting other than actually multiple weekly meetings. What do I mean? Well, there is, to this point with this group, we've been meeting for over a year and a half. We have hundreds of students who have been connected with Ratio Christi and our tabling, you could say our tabling centric group. We've never had a room reservation. We've never had any sort of allotted funding for the campus group. We've never had any of the sort of normal things that you would expect or you become accustomed to in campus ministry, but rather what we have is a tablecloth, and book stands, and an ongoing surplus and you could say a stream of books for our tables. And from what I understand, you're well familiar with the tabling itself, so there's nothing new there. Add a couple chairs into the mix, and what we have also are what we call lawn discussions. So again, when the weather is nice, I think we're also in some of the northern regions, so we do have this pleasant thing called winter to cope with. But as long as the weather is nice, during school seasons, we have months and months, both in the fall and then in the spring, where we're able to be outside almost exclusively with the table, with the books, with we use banners to kind of draw, visually draw students to our area, and then we have chairs that we'll set up. Sometimes we'll bring coffee, tea, snacks, treats, cider and donuts for those of us who are in these northern areas. And all of these things are ways that we draw students in. And as an example from today, we just left the campus a little while ago. Over the course of about 3 hours there, we had literally hundreds of students total, and easily, I would say probably 25 to 30 significant meeting conversations of varying sizes. They're in the course of just one general area, both at the table, some standing, some sitting. We had probably about 15 chairs, maybe a dozen chairs set up on the lawn in different areas behind our table. And so it creates an entire environment, you could say, so that with our regularity of our schedule, we generally have 3 days a week that we are using the table at this campus. And even though we have never had a room for the club, we've never reserved anything in that capacity, we've never again spent any funding, we have all sorts of contacts from students with established friendships, relationships of varying length, some that we've just met recently, some that we've known for a year and a half, and then obviously the networking extends also. So kind of the three main components I would mention is that tabling by itself, as you well know, could be nothing, but when you add in tabling, you add in lawn discussions, and when you add in networking, even with just those three components, you have the makings of very vibrant engagements with students that I think would equal, if not surpass, one weekly meeting in a designated room. And so this is a little bit about the dynamic, you could say the fabric of our unofficial tabling-based campus ministry here at one of our local campuses. It's been a pleasure, and I hope we'll be able to have some further contact. God bless you.